some amount of time. We are live. Okay. We're getting ready. Let's start off. Welcome back. This is episode 5 of 5 Dumb Things. And this is a special episode for us. This is actually the Star Wars special. Very excited. I am your host. I am Darren J. Gendron, and my co-host and person who probably refers to me as the co-host is Brandon J. Carr.
Hi, Darren. My co-host.
It's a constant struggle for power that will never pay off because neither one of us. It's like a Venn diagram of bragging. That it's just two circles that we're talking to different people. As soon as we find that one overlap person, then there will be blood.
Exactly.
There will be an epic battle going on for that. We have a guest judge who is Star Wars related. Ladies and gentlemen, Annie Stoll, who I was jokingly pointing out that she got to set out some of the new canon, one of the first artists to do so, because she got to illustrate the Sabine My Rebel sketchbook. Say hi.
Hi, everybody. What's up?
Yes, I probably should also give you like some really quick, like the non-corporates. Like you get to do some fascinating corporate work, but you also do a lot of creator-owned at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, right on.
Yeah, like you're Annie Stoll on, I believe, on both Instagram and Twitter, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then you have AnnieStoll.com.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk a little bit more towards the end of the show that you're in 1001 Nights, which is currently on Kickstarter.
Super stoked about it. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Not a problem.
Welcome.
Okay. Oh, were you saying something, Brandon?
I just said welcome.
Oh, how dare
Aww. I like your little drawing. It's adorable.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, for those that are...
Go
This
ahead,
is
you
the
can
dual
talk about it.
Show. I'm pretty sure that at one point Brandon was thanking you for that, and at the same point thinking, well, gotta edit that out later.
Sorry.
Because we are
fine.
both a multimedia cast on YouTube and a regular podcast on... what are we up? Where can you find our podcast?
We are on iTunes, we are on Stitcher, and we are at 5dumbthings.com.
5dumbthings.com. Excellent. All right, let's get it started. I've got 5 minutes on the clock. We are going to... These are all Star Wars related topics. I know we've done Star Wars related stuff in the past, but this will be all 5 about Star Wars. We're going to start, of course, with the movies, because that's where you start with Star Wars. That's also where you start with 5 Dumb Things. Brandon, I will let you choose. Would you like to go first or defer?
I would like to go first, because I may be presenting a controversial side of the Star Wars fandom.
Ooh.
All right, getting controversial.
All right, so I want to talk about the prequels. And
Diving right in.
Oh yeah, diving right in. So I revisited the prequels prior to The Force Awakens coming out, just to see if they were as challenging as I remembered, and they are. There are some issues there, but it's interesting in the follow-up to Force Awakens, the comments that George Lucas made with regards to Force Awakens being a movie that the fans would like, but that he was a little disappointed that it didn't extend itself further beyond the franchise the way that he did with the prequels, which immediately everyone said, Senate meetings and Jar Jar, blah, blah, blah. But he kind of had a point in the sense that the prequel films do really expand upon the universe in a way that The Force Awakens didn't. While we went back to Tatooine, we retread Coruscant and all those kinds of things. There were a lot of new elements that were, for better or for worse, entered into what has become canon for the Star Wars universe. Things that, in a way, we almost take for granted, especially with the other canon pieces, the Clone Wars and Rebels and things that we'll talk about later. But I will specifically be talking about Clone Wars and the way that the prequels shaped that and introduced certain things and a certain approach to the Star Wars franchise that was completely different from the original trilogy. Again, for better or for worse. There were things, especially design things by Doug Chiang and his design crew. The visuals, for instance, on Coruscant are super cool in a very Fifth Element kind of way at times, especially in Revenge of the Sith. But the look and the creatures that were introduced and sort of the down and dirty nightlife of Coruscant all the way to the fields of Naboo where Anakin held Padme ever so tenderly. There were a lot of great things. The worst thing about the prequels is the prequels. It's the actual story and the execution, because everything around it was really creative and very new and very inventive. Sometimes leaning a little too hard, however, on what we're familiar with as it is. Like Phantom Menace, a lot of people hate the length of the pod race and the whiny Anakin and things like that, but one of the things that bothered me most was the pod racer announcer, played by Greg Proops and some sort of alien.
Still weirdly one of my favorite parts of the prequel.
Really? See,
yeah.
The thing about the original trilogy is that you had a lot of things that felt very alien, but at the same time felt very familiar, kind of, because everything was switched around. Like, what's a tauntaun? Like a tauntaun is like a lizardy kangaroo thing that lives in the snow. Like, that's brand new, but somewhat familiar. But having a race announcer that sounds like an American NASCAR announcer, it's too close. Like the diner that they go to in Attack of the Clones, or that Obi-Wan goes to in Attack of the Clones, which actually has like a Flow robot. And
Oh
I think she actually is named FL0. Yeah.
Right. Which is,
oh my gosh, yeah.
it's too much. Like that's drawing way too much. There's nothing like that in the original trilogy. There's never, because even the cantina, like, you get it, it's a dive bar, right? But it's also like dug into the walls, the booths and everything. So it's sort of like a dive bar in the mountains of well, I guess Tunisia, if you're going by where parts of it were filmed. But that familiarity was a peripheral familiarity, as opposed to the prequel trilogy, where it was just on the nose. It was like, hey, you ever been to a diner? You're gonna love this part.
Well, then you also have the Death Sticks nightclub in Coruscant as well.
Right, exactly. What's Death Sticks? So I think that for the most part, any time that the design team really got to do their work and really got to create the aspects of these worlds and really flesh them out, I think that's where it flourished. It's anything that actually was scripted or was part of like Lucas's core vision, I think, was the problem. But the good part is that so many of those great elements were able to be used going forward with Clone Wars, and I would be willing to bet with some of this new trilogy. And there's been some talk of an Obi-Wan trilogy with a younger Obi-Wan sometime between 3 and 4.
Are we hearing? Yeah, I've heard trilogy rumors, and I've heard just one of the standalones. I'd rather a standalone, personally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever read the book Kenobi? Because they should just make a movie of that.
I haven't. Is that one of the new canon books?
Yeah, it's a John Jackson Miller book, and it's really, really good. And there's a scene where Obi-Wan Kenobi fights a crate dragon. That's all you need to know.
Is it Kenobi pre, I guess, episode 3 or post episode 3?
No, it's like after he's exiled himself, but he's still young.
So post episode 3,
Yeah.
That's actually the Kenobi I want to see the most of right now.
Yeah, it's a little more space cowboy, and I like that kind of thing. So I would be on board with something like that.
Right.
Okay.
And
So-
I think that would be really enjoyable, and that's something that we wouldn't be able to really get a taste of without the prequels having happened.
So what are you saying is dumb exactly about the prequels?
I think that everything in the script and in the directions of the prequels is dumb, and everything else is pretty cool.
The George Lucas the things George Lucas directly did were
Right.
dumb. The things that he inspired other people to do were awesome. Is that what you're saying?
Which I think is something we can say about Star Wars in general.
That does actually tend to hold true. I mean, he did direct New Hope, right?
He did.
Yeah, and that was the one, and that was still young, scrappy George, still getting some good directing in there. I'm actually going to go with post New Hope. This is what I think is dumb. Luke Skywalker. And it's not Luke Skywalker the Jedi. I'm like, nah, fine guy. Luke Skywalker the moisture farmer? Sure, whatever. Luke Skywalker the pilot. Let's face it, best pilot in the galaxy. He got the game-winning shot there. First Death Star run, bam, hits it. No, it's Luke Skywalker, rogue leader. And as rogue leader, completely dumb. He is the worst boss ever. I guarantee you this. I went through when I was doing my rewatches of the movies, and I noticed something. Immediately after Luke becomes the best pilot in the galaxy, and he establishes himself, he gets promoted above Wedge Antilles, and he gets to build Rogue Squadron. Big deal. Best pilots in the rebellion. This is his track record as rogue leader. On Hoth, crashes a snowspeeder. Gets into his X-Wing, takes it to Dagobah, crashes the X-Wing. At this point, he's 0 for 2 in landings as rogue leader. When he finally actually gets the X-Wing out, he takes it to Bespin, does successfully land it there, and promptly abandons it, lets the Imperials take his X-Wing. That's the thing that happened. He hitches a ride on the Millennium Falcon at the end of Empire Strikes Back. He's missing a lightsaber, he's missing a hand, and oh yeah, he's missing an X-Wing. For reasons I don't understand, he's still rogue leader at this point. They give him a new X-Wing. He goes AWOL the moment they give him an X-Wing. He takes it over to Tatooine, builds a new lightsaber, thaws out Han Solo, does that whole thing, and then he goes even further AWOL, heads over to Dagobah. Meanwhile, the Rebellion, they're getting back together. They're like, oh, hey, it's Death Star the sequel. Clearly, we need to put together a strike team and a bombing run again. And they're putting everything together. And they need, basically, that one guy to take that shot to blow up the next Death Star. Luke walks into the room at this moment as they're putting this plan together. The first thing he says is, I'm with the landing team. Just, he literally walks past Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
I started thinking about it. He's in his flight uniform when he's in Dagobah. He flies his X-Wing back to the strike team and the rebellion. He has to physically get out of his flight uniform, put his black Jedi garb back on, and then walk past his former squadron to quit right in front of them minutes before they're supposed to take off and go blow up a Death Star. That's all I have on that one. There's no extra time needed for it. Did I just blow your mind, Brandon?
Oh, totally blown. But maybe he started to take that "wars not make one great" line that Yoda gave him. He starts thinking like, I don't know if I want to get in the spaceship again. I want to go hang out with the teddy bears.
Wars not make one great, but going and trying to murder somebody face to face, that makes someone great.
Well,
If
yeah.
you think about it. If he had just done his job, stayed in the X-Wing, done the run as it would probably have been drawn up by, Admiral Akbar, they blow up the Death Star. Like he would feel like the shield is on around the Death Star because Vader felt Luke in the landing party. So then he goes onto the Death Star to try to confront his dad, confront the Emperor. Both those two guys die, and balance and harmony is set about the galaxy. Had he just done his job, the shield never goes on. He flies into the Death Star, he blows it up, those two guys still die. Sure, he's got a little bit of ambiguity there. He doesn't get that warm, fuzzy feeling of like, oh yeah, Daddy had some good in him. That's the only thing that would be different in that situation.
That's true. Well, and then that would start a whole chain, because then, looking forward, there wouldn't be the helmet for Kylo Ren to play with in his weird Sith toy box.
Uh.
Like, why does he keep it in the sand? I've never.
It's not
quite,
sand. It's ashes.
or ashes. Yeah. Like, what is
I
that
think-
actual like?
I think it's
Vader's
Vader's
skull?
ashes. Sure.
It's,
I don't know.
did he like shake Vader brain ash out of the helmet and stored it in that? By the way, we should probably note right now, we're going full spoiler on this episode.
Yeah, spoilers.
We are fully assuming that you're up to date on all the extended all the current canon extended universe, Rebels, Clone Wars, any of the video games, Force Awakens. Books we're probably not going to talk too much about.
Maybe I'll edit in a warning at the very beginning.
Thank
Since
you.
We're already
Well, we sort of just rushed right into that. I think it is known that Luke blew up a Death Star, and it's known that the prequels happened, and I don't think we trampled on too much there.
True.
We were getting close to Kylo being a spoiler there. Okay, Judge Annie.
Hey.
Now we turn to you. Is the touch of George Lucas on the prequels dumb, or is Luke's experience as a boss of Rogue Squadron dumb?
Well, I think you both made some really excellent points, but I think overall, to the big picture of Star Wars, I'm going to say that some of the decisions in the prequels were far dumber than the one scene with Luke, although I did like your explanation about it.
Oh, gosh. I was way too obsessed. Like, I had to figure out, when do we see him land? Ever?
I think whoever made the decision to make him leader, that person was dumb.
I think it was Leia. I think it's a very good chance that it was Leia at that point, right?
Well, maybe she has some like good sibling thoughts about him. You know, the Force is telling her to put him in this space.
Let's remember how she reacts at the beginning of Empire. That's not good sibling thoughts. That's creepy in retrospect thoughts. That's, if you look at R2 in that scene, you know that robot's just going like, oh damn, no. You know that memory wipe thing you gave C-3PO? I'm considering it heavily right now.
Yeah, that was awkward stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that takes us to television. Brandon, I'm going to play the chronological card. I'm looking at what we both are saying is dumb. I'm going to make you go first on this one.
All right, that's fair. As I mentioned before, I want to talk about the Clone Wars series, and I am referring to the Cartoon Network computer-generated series, not the Genndy Tartakovsky.
Also Cartoon
the 2D.
Network, by
that
the way.
guy,
But
right? The 2D version, which was incredible, but
Star Wars Samurai Jack.
Yes, exactly. But a completely separate animal. I'm also pretending that the Clone Wars feature film did not happen.
Okay.
In order to discuss this properly.
Sure.
To keep it in the television category, you mean?
Sure. Or just to pretend that the Clone Wars is flawless.
Yeah, we can just call that like a rough pilot pitch idea.
Yeah, it was just their presentation to the network. And they were like, we can have some great Hutlet fart jokes in there, and that's what the fans want. So the Clone Wars show, crap, sorry, I need to grab my notes. Edit.
No.
It's all good.
So the Clone Wars series, now have you guys seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Have you seen it in its entirety, including the Netflix episodes?
I have. I've seen the whole thing, and it took me a while to like it. The first time I saw it, I was like, nope, can't do the snips thing, and I stopped. And then eventually I went back into it and actually gave it a shot and watched the whole thing, and by the end I really loved it. But I will say that the beginning was rough for me personally.
The beginning is rough for a number of reasons. One, the snips and Sky Guy against the world, you know.
Yeah. Which is weird because by the end of it, like, Ahsoka is like one of my favorite characters.
She is. She's like one of my favorite characters. She really grows. So
absolutely.
That being said,
Dave Filoni for that.
I was watching that whole series, just the entire thing, going, Ahsoka gonna die. At some point, the series is gonna have to get really dark, and hey, she gonna die. That was my whole logic there, because you don't see her in episode 3.
Right. And while the series does get really dark at times, we don't actually see her die or really how she ends up, and I have a feeling you're going to cover that shortly. But so I actually had watched the entire series and then realized just the other day that I never watched the Netflix episodes.
Oh.
Because that last season leading into the ones that they put on Netflix was not my favorite. There were some story arcs that I wasn't that interested in, and that was sort of a flaw of the series as a whole. Is every once in a while they'd get on this 3-episode jag of something I just didn't care about at all. And in fact, towards the end, there's a 2 or 3 episode arc with Mace Windu and Jar Jar that is also not my favorite. But I found out it's based on some. I mean, the dynamic is based on some movie that Samuel L. Jackson did with Eugene Levy.
Gosh, it is.
So they took that kind of interplay and they were like, oh, let's just put in Jar Jar instead.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
That makes me enjoy it a little bit more. But the final arc, that last arc with Yoda on his spiritual journey, learning about transitioning between life and death and everything, is gorgeous. Like, just from a storytelling perspective, from a cinematography perspective, for a network or a cable network television cartoon, or I mean, even for just anything, really, it's got some really gorgeous moments. There are some pieces of it that you could take out just as segments that are Emmy-worthy just for what they are, that are absolutely incredible. And you find that throughout the whole series, and again, it was a little uneven because you get those arcs where it's like, oh, okay, they're saving the flower planet, neat, and then you get back into some really storyline-driven General Grievous, Count Dooku thing, and it would really kind of pull you back in. It's a pretty violent show. I remember when it first started, I was considering letting my son, who would have been, I don't know, 7 or 8 at the time. It's been a while. Thinking about whether or not he could watch it. And then there's one sequence where one of the clones, or someone kills one of the clones, and then but it switches to the clone's point of view before the shot is taken.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
And I was just, nope. There's no way I'm subjecting him to this at this point. Now, we have since watched it together, and it actually became an annual thing where I would get the DVD or Blu-ray set, and then we would watch through it, which now we're doing with Rebels. Although we haven't watched it yet, but I've watched some of it, but we haven't actually sat down and do the watch through yet. Clone Wars should have had an opportunity to continue, whether it be on Netflix or through Cartoon Network. I'm sure doing it on Netflix probably would have limited the audience some, but I think it could have really gone to some interesting places, which it did, but it could have gone even further. And that last arc with Yoda was the pure testament to that. Because what I liked about that last arc was exactly what I liked about Empire Strikes Back, which is it was a balance of humor, spirituality within that universe, and action. And that arc managed to explain away the midichlorians in a way that made them less ridiculous.
Okay. So the fact that Clone Wars didn't get to end is dumb.
Yes.
Okay. And you're also saying that you have not seen Star Wars Rebels. Is that what you said?
I have seen the first 4 or 5 episodes.
Oh gosh. Okay, so do you know anything that happens?
I do. I don't
want to say spoiler.
No, it's fine. I know who shows up. I've already watched through
here's the thing.
Trailer for the rest of season 2.
This is actually what I want to talk about. Because I picked Star Wars Rebels as my is dumb, but with a giant asterisk. I love this TV series. I'm not going to say the series is dumb. I'm going to say spoilers versus spoilers is dumb. There is stuff like this is when I talk about like, oh hey, we're gonna talk full spoiler. I got to admit, with Rebels, I put a caveat there. I don't want to tell people exactly what's going to happen, even just first season stuff. We're in second season now, but the first there's the Jedi trap. Like I don't want to describe that to people. Like it's dark, it's gritty, it's amazing, and I don't tell people like the specifics of what happens in Rebels. that said, there's always been like these. I was looking at the Star Wars Instagram account, and about a week and a half ago, they previewed an episode that aired 2 ago,
Hmm.
and they previewed it by showing Princess Leia, and people are all like, "Oh, spoilers!" Like Princess Leia being a rebel in between episode 3 and 4 is not a spoiler. That's a fact of life at that point. It bothered me. Like, no, just announcing that they're going to add her to the cast is not a spoiler. Um, okay, and this is the one that we're dancing around. Ahsoka is in Rebels. Is that what you were? Is that what I just spoiled for you, or
No,
did
no,
you hear
no.
about that?
No, I watched the trailer for I watched the mid-season trailer for season
Okay.
2.
Yeah, but
So-
he might not know who she.
I'm not going to say what she does.
Yeah.
It just
Mhm.
No, listen, it's fine. It's fine, guys.
No, it's not, though.
we are completely spoiler.
Yeah.
It's fine.
no, still not going to say anything
Yeah, I
about
don't want to
what
say
her
it
role
either.
is.
You might not know like how
Yeah.
how
And
she
there-
comes to be.
And the only reason I do this is because I don't. Is the first season out on collected yet?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
it sitting next to my television.
Okay, well now this is on you. You got to watch that as soon as you can. But it's because it's on cable. It's not accessible to everybody. I was talking with another. Another comedian. He's on a show that I'm doing this weekend. His name is Jeff May, and we were talking we were really going deep on the Clone Wars set, and I was telling him like, you've got to start watching Rebels. Like, I know very early on there was a little like, I know where you are, Brandon. I know how you feel that you want Clone Wars back. First off, we have to admit that it was never going to come back to Cartoon Network.
No.
Disney was not going to keep giving content to a competitor when they didn't have to, and that was one of the things that the Disney deal did. Is like, no more stuff on Cartoon Network. It's going on Disney XD, and then Cartoon Network is blocking Clone Wars from showing up on XD. So that's why that whole story stopped, and they went with Rebels. They got to flesh out some new characters because it's actually being based off of new characters instead of ones that they have from the TV or the movies. We're seeing more female characters with like Sabine and Pilot.
Hera.
Thank you, Hera.
Hera Syndulla, and that name
Yes.
might remind you of some things from Clone Wars. Mm.
You've even like Annie. You have cosplayed as Hera, right?
I have.
Yes, and they're both fantastic characters.
Yeah.
There's a display at Disneyland, and I think it's also at Disney World now, where they have like different helmets and props. They have an actual Sabine helmet, like they
I wanna
made
go
this a
there.
real world thing. That threw me for just a moment because I
Yeah.
went there before Force Awakens came out, and I'm like, no freaking, like if she was just a back,
She
I would
is.
have lost my shit if Sabine were just hanging out in the background of like Maz Kanata's cantina.
Yeah.
Maybe she
I
is.
mean, hey, Rogue
we haven't had a
One, you
breakdown yet.
guys. Who knows?
Oh my god.
Mm.
What if she's in Rogue One?
Yeah, I want her to be like someone in the background of Rogue One. I mean, I know nothing, so I can just speculate. But
Okay, this is not, we're not breaking any NDAs or anything. That's good.
no, I know nothing. So
Okay, so what I think is dumb is that differentiate, like, let's not pretend that a character being in something is a spoiler. Like, that's just a little too, if it's like if what the character does is a big deal, case in point Ahsoka, then yeah, that's a spoiler. But the fact that clone troopers have shown up, Ahsoka has shown up, that just adds to the richness of this particular TV series.
What do you think
Spoilers are
about-
dumb.
what do you think about like things like, I don't know if I can say it, but like Lando and things like that? Like, do you feel like that was like a spoiler, or do you
I forgot
feel
about
like
Lando. No, that was
Yeah.
even a big deal. They even announced that because that's Billy
Yeah.
D. Williams.
right?
And they made a big deal about the fact that they had no role for Billy in Force Awakens.
Hmm.
And it was about the same time that they were announcing that like Wedge Antilles was not going to, the actor that played Wedge decided that he wasn't going to come back for Episode 7.
Which is ridiculous.
Honestly, I can tell exactly where they would have put him in. He would have been standing in between Akbar
Right.
and
Greg
was
Grunberg.
Montez? Hmm?
Greg Grunberg.
No, Greg's he snapped. He's in the
I know.
X-wing.
Well, I think
But he would have been in that
Wedge.
briefing scene, and then he would have stayed there and helped plan the attack from afar. So he's just
But that's
standing in a
fine.
room.
I mean, that would have been really
Yeah.
cool to see. Like, I mean, it was cool seeing Akbar. It was cool seeing Yum Yum in there. You know, some of those throwback characters. But I don't know. It just anyway. I understand why he didn't want to be in it, but I also completely don't understand why he didn't want to be in it.
Yeah, and there was a part of me when they first announced it. I'm like, Wedge is a character I really love. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of those like I love. That's the thing I love about Star Wars. These obscure little tiny background characters, and to have a chance to like stick them back in. I'm broke. Okay, spoiler. I'm still broken up about Eloasti dying.
Aww.
That one bothers me.
Aww.
I was like, yeah, there he is. All right, he's like, Beastie Boys reference pilot. He's in the squad. Oh, there he goes. Okay,
He's got his own action figure.
he went Porkins on us. Damn it. Okay, Judge Annie, what are we talking about? Is Clone Wars not getting a true ending dumb, or are character-based spoilers?
It's dumb, but keep going.
Or character-based spoilers saying that Princess Leia being in Rebels is a spoiler. Is that dumb?
Gosh, can I have like a dumb tie?
We've never had a dumb tie.
I think they're kind of an equal weight of dumb, and here's why. I think that it's dumb that there wasn't this super grand ending to Clone Wars, but that said, I actually liked how they wrapped it up with Yoda. That was like super cool, super spiritual, and it kind of left you uneasy, and I kind of really liked that. So I wish it would have gone on more, because it's dumb that it didn't. But also, on the side about spoilers, I think it is kind of dumb how upset people get, but then sometimes people have good reasons. They don't want to know anything, but that's kind of like stay off the internet. I feel like personally it's kind of a dumb tie, because it's both dumb, and I feel like talking about this is making me dumber. I love you guys.
We're just making it dumb and dumb right now.
Mission accomplished.
Like, it's not a spoiler to say that Han Solo's in the movie. It's a spoiler to say that
something bad happened to him. Yeah.
Do it, guys. We're spoiling. Han Solo dies at the hand of his son. There, I broke it. I ripped the seal.
I was so upset when that happened.
You know what made me the most upset was Leia's response from across the galaxy, because it was really subtle, but it was really heartfelt, and it didn't really hit me until I watched it the second time. Because the first time I was like, oh man, Han Solo, no, and then in a very Walken-y way, I guess, and then watching it the second time, it really hit me with Leia's reaction. I was like, I feel you.
I knew it was going to happen the whole time. I knew there was no way that they were going to get Harrison Ford to this movie unless they agreed to it because of his long-standing, things. So it's kind of like when you watch Grave of the Fireflies, which, spoiler, if you're going to watch it, the kids were dead to begin with. And, you just know, watching that movie from the very first frame that, it's going to happen. I felt the same way about Star Wars. There were all these, literal foreshadowings with, Rey seeing the sun go out. I knew it was going to happen. I prepared myself. It still happened anyways. I was still a wreck.
And it was hard from a spoiler point of view.
Yeah.
There was that article going around about how Harrison Ford made $50 billion off of this one movie, and everyone else got paid way less. And I wanted to go and post on every single one. This is his last one.
Right.
He doesn't get to keep making money off of this. This is the end for him.
Yeah, and you get the sense that they all have secret options and backdoor deals. If So yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that was off topic. Sorry about that.
No, a little bit. I was just thinking to myself, you know what would have actually disappointed? This is why I know I'm a horrible person. I was not that broken up about Han Solo dying. I only slightly joke about me being broken up about Eloasti dying and that one bothering me. I know for a fact I would have cried like a baby had they blown up R2.
Oh yeah, no, for real.
That's the character that I'm like, no. we lose R2, I riot. You know,
Even
Yes.
depressed R2, just in the corner, shut down, was sad enough.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't deal, and he just crawls up in the corner and goes to sleep for
I
30
know.
years.
Old man R2. It wasn't 30 years. No.
Well, whatever. Whenever it was that Luke went away, is
It's
when
like,
he shut down.
yeah, just Luke exile. So we're like 10, 15 years tops.
But
It's
we
just a
don't know.
really long defrag is all he did.
Right.
Back to the original point, Luke being dumb.
Mhm.
We don't notice you don't see an X-wing on his island. You know,
That's true.
there's no
No.
obvious source of transport. He damn crashed that plane somewhere because he doesn't
You
have
know-
R2 landing it for him there.
Going
Somewhere
back
in
to
Ireland.
somewhere in Ireland, there's an X-wing just going into a lake.
Bubbling away.
But going back to your point about Luke landing on Cloud City, we never see it. We never see him land.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we don't know. He may have just kind of left it on top of a building somewhere, or like stuck halfway into one of the domes, or maybe he came in through a window.
That's
Who
another
knows?
case where we don't get to see him like take the fly suit off. He just quick
It just
changes
happens.
into
Right.
his beiges.
Well, a
There's
lot of
one
weird
speech is
things
under
get
there.
lost there too. Like that's where he loses his lightsaber. How does Maz get it?
Oh, I know. That's going to be interesting. And you know what? I have a feeling that when J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan wrote that script,
Mhm.
they had no answer to that.
No, they did. They filmed an answer to that. That's one of the deleted scenes.
Oh, the alternate opening, right?
There's the alternate open. They've confirmed this that there's an alternate open of the lightsaber falling from space, and then at one point there's even like a flashback, a montage of the journey of this lightsaber to Maz's Katina.
Well, that is extra dumb, and I'm glad it wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
Was
I
it
feel
set to like an 80s power ballad?
Oh gosh.
Give me the saber!
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not gonna lie, I would actually that's another standalone movie that I would actually watch.
Journey
Yeah.
of the Saber.
Just the lightsaber is the main character.
So the Sisterhood of the Traveling Lightsabers.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Or it'd be great if you could hear it thinking, like, look who's talking.
Eat, pray, lightsaber.
Well, wasn't that there was a TV show like in the 90s? It was called Gun, and that was
I
the
know
premise
it.
of it. It was the story of this one gun changing owners over and over again.
That's interesting.
That's
Yeah.
I
And
don't
it
know
was
why in
always
my
like-
head like this lightsaber is like a romantic comedy lightsaber though.
It's like the When Harry Met Sally of the Star Wars universe.
Oh God.
Okay, so let's switch over to music. Okay, I got 5 minutes on the clock. I will start with the music. My dumb thing that I found with the music is that and I think Brandon actually guessed exactly what I was going to do on this.
Nice.
We had a little bit of a pregame on this one. We were divvying up topics.
Hmm.
Excuse me. There is a fan theory out there that Snoke is Darth Plagueis, and the reason behind this
God.
is because Snoke has a theme song, and you hear it when he's doing his big Wizard of Oz hologram in Episode 7.
Right on.
That music is ridiculously similar to a part of Palpatine's teachings, which is in Episode 3, and it is the part of Palpatine's teachings where he's out at the jellyfish opera scene,
Mhm.
and he's talking about Darth Plagueis. So it's one of those. Palpatine starts talking about Plagueis. It starts doing this weird guttural type.
Mhm.
It's that sound that you expect a Christopher Nolan movie to like start out of. You know, just whoa. You know, that type of thing is
Wah.
happening. They're very similar bits of music. I love this theory, and then that reminds me that I both love and hate fan theories.
Yeah.
This gets down to me, like sometimes I hook in on these fan theories and I love them with a passion, and I'm like, that is a great idea, and then I go and I watch the movie and I'm like, they should have done the fan theory.
Mhm.
And a lot of it has to do with the fact that when you come up with a theory of, you know, how things. A great example is me. I had a theory about Obi-Wan Kenobi and why he's called Ben Kenobi when he's on Tatooine. This is pre-1998. My theory
Wait,
was.
can I guess? Can I guess what your theory is?
What's that?
Can I guess what your theory is?
What's your theory?
My guess about your theory is that because Obi-Wan Kenobi is a clone, and Obi-Wan is his designation.
Exactly. In fact, he would have been original batch 1.
Oh, nice.
B1.
Cool.
If you're doing an army of clones, why do you not clone a bunch of Jedis as your generals? It just made sense. And so Ben Kenobi is the actual Jedi. His name has always been Ben. And he retires from before the war because wars do not make one great. The Jedi don't fight in the Clone Wars, but or maybe Ben and Anakin do. There's and that's the thing. I didn't flesh those details out. I just had them in my head. That would be so cool. I also had this whole theory about how Yoda's dead in Empire Strikes Back.
What?
I thought that would have
I've
been
heard
one
that
of the best
theory
twists
before.
ever.
Yeah.
That if he think about it, if he came into that climactic battle at the end of Episode 3, him versus Sidious, and they're going at each other, and Sidious straight up gacks him. And also, Yoda would have been talking perfect grammar before this battle, and he takes just a force
severe head trauma.
Yeah, if you get Yoda taking force lightning to the brain and then dying, and then he uses the force to just pull his force ghosts together just to teach Luke. He uses the power of Dagobah to anchor himself, and he teaches him. He's like Ghost Dad as a teacher in not Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
My weird obsession with Ghost Dad slides in there. Sorry about that. But yeah, it would have. And these are weird, crazy, out there theories that I have that I like them, and I don't know. I'll get more on this Obi-Wan and Ben stuff later. But it's I don't know.
That's why fan theories are fun, though. That's why Star Wars is fun, because you can come up with all this crazy stuff, and you can find little tiny details that support what you're thinking.
But I feel like I would be disappointed if Snoke is just Snoke. If he's not some weird nod to the past.
You know what my favorite Snoke theory is? And
gosh.
I'm sure it was tongue-in-cheek, but I laughed for quite a while after I saw this side-by-side image. Snoke is Porkins.
Oh gosh.
I love it. Because we have no indication that Snoke is actually a Force user of any kind, and all we know is that he's a big hologram, right? And so that
right.
I don't know, and even kind of looking at he's got that big collar that could be the flight suit collar. I don't know. That cracked me up for a while, and I kept going. It was one of those things where I kept scrolling through my feed or whatever, and then I came across it again and just had another down.
And I will, going back to this whole Snoke and John Williams hiding things in the score, I did just today find out another one of these exists. The Augie's Municipal Band, that ridiculous parade music being played at the episode 1, it is actually the Emperor's theme in major key and double tempo.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
It's there's some differences of notes, maybe 2 or 3 notes off, but it is almost the exact same cadence.
Well, that's how the Snoke theme is as well, because there's one extra note added from the Plagueis conversation.
I did listen to somebody even put Snoke and they put Snoke and Palpatine's teachings on top of each other, and it's kind of a beautiful, creepy chorus. They don't overlap. They blend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you guys see in the there's a concept art book, and there's a picture of Snoke, and the only real note about it is that when they were modeling him, they wanted him to be someone that was once beautiful but got completely corrupted. So they were looking at sort of those portraits of Greek and Roman emperors, that kind of very stately, high cheekbone kind of deal. So I find that interesting, yeah.
Or Bail Organa, I mean. It's Bail Organa. He survived the destruction of Alderaan.
How do you guys feel about Ezra?
Ooh.
Yes.
That would be huge.
Long nose, cheekbones, I don't know.
Well, you know what? That brings up a good point about Plagueis. Plagueis in the old canon was of the same race as the banking clan, and they don't have noses. And so that has become sort of a, well, he can't be Plagueis, but
Except
that
there's
was the
no
old canon.
canon version of Plagueis at the moment.
But there's
That's
also tying into Rebels. There's a theory that he's the or an Inquisitor, because he does kind of look like the Inquisitor.
Well, there's 7 Inquisitors now,
Well,
I think.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, they're like the dwarves.
Oh my gosh, there's going to be a mashup of that. It's years in coming because we only know 3 of them at the moment. But,
Right.
oh my gosh, which
One of them
one's gonna be
sneeze a lot?
dopey?
What?
I said, does one of them sneeze a lot?
Not yet, but
Okay.
I mean, who knows?
The
Wait,
idea
are
of
you
a
allowed to
dopey
talk about that?
No, I am at a point where I don't know anything, so it's
Okay.
awesome. Don't even worry about it.
You've gone back to fan on that.
Yeah, I'm back in fan mode.
Okay. Brandon, what is dumb in the world of Star Wars music?
Well, what was dumb for you?
The fan theories.
Just fan theories in general.
The fact that this music can lead to fan theories that I want to be true, and that they can be dumb. Fan theories can be dumb.
Like Porkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I want to talk about the music playing in Maz Kanata's, I don't know what it is, Pirate Den, whatever
It's
we
her
would call it.
castle.
Her castle, her sweet, sweet castle.
Can we just take a moment really quickly to note how badass Maz is? To put giant
Yes.
statues of herself outside.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's a sign of a badass character. We're like, yeah, giant statue of me there, there, and there.
See, that's another story that needs to be told, whether it be a book or a standalone movie or something. I want to know a lot more about her.
I think there was more of her, but it got cut, but I feel like we'll find out a lot more about her, because she's kind of like girl power Yoda, so...
Yeah, girl power Yoda, I like that.
Apparently she knows Yoda, or knew Yoda, so therefore I need to see the buddy cop drama of Maz and Yoda.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, like a road trip thing.
Yes!
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
maybe
okay.
she helps him move to Dagobah.
Right?
And so
Oh
they
my
take
God.
the long way. They do it like a road trip in a slow, non-light speed shuttle.
Amazing.
Just fighting over the radio the whole time.
I love it.
So the music playing in the background is composed by Lin-Manuel Miranda from Hamilton and In the Heights in combination with J.J. Abrams, which
Yep.
is the most amazing thing ever. As I've mentioned in previous shows, I'm obsessed with Hamilton and Lin-Manuel Miranda just in general. But the story of how this happened is my favorite part. Because J.J. Abrams went to go see Hamilton, and Lin-Manuel Miranda went up to him basically during intermission and was just, asking how the show was, what he was up to, pointed out that if he ever needed new Cantina music, that he was game. And
Oh,
so
wow.
J.J.
Yeah.
Abrams said, okay. And this was weeks before the show came out, or before the movie came out. So this was November. When this happened, and so they wound up writing these pieces together, which are called Jabba Flow and Dobra Doompa. They wrote them together by sending a music file back and forth and just tweaking it, which is interesting. And actually, one of J.J. Abrams' earliest credits is writing the score for some low-budget horror movie. So he's got that musical edge to it. But I love that story because I love Lin-Manuel Miranda. I love Force Awakens and everything. However, you can't find it anywhere. It's not
Yes.
on the soundtrack because I think it was written too late to be put, on the pressing of the CD.
I actually have a theory about that, too. I think it's because they want John Williams to win the Oscar for it, and so they're not including it in any of the... There's the... which one? I'm sorry. There's the CD that's the regular CD. There's the bonus CD from Target, and then there's the For Your Consideration CD, which you can get online if you look around. And that has extra music. But the only music that doesn't exist is what you're talking about right now.
Really?
It's the only thing that doesn't have John Williams on it.
That makes perfect sense. Interesting.
That might be even dumber now.
Well, no, I get it. I mean, I think that John Williams certainly does not win all the awards that he deserves, and he's picked up quite a few over the years. Force Awakens is not my favorite Star Wars soundtrack. I don't think it was as varied and dynamic as some of the ones in the past. I think that the best example of a Star Wars soundtrack is actually Episode 3, because it has themes from all 6 movies.
Mm.
And I understand that it
all
was
7.
Yeah, well, no, because it doesn't have Rey's theme, which is really one of the only standouts for
No,
me.
I was referring to Snoke.
Oh, right. I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Oh yeah.
Rey's theme was a standout. The Resistance theme is okay. So it wasn't my favorite, but I
Right.
think that John Williams should get all of the awards all the time. So, regardless of
Right.
whether or not it's my favorite. Because I don't know if he was recognized during the prequel years. In the
I want to
awards,
say
remember.
I
yes.
thought he was.
Oh, well, bully for him. Which I think it's great. I think it's really. I mean, he's an amazing, accomplished, and prolific composer, and I am already sad for the day that we won't have him anymore. But I think that there are some people that are already poised to take over the Star Wars franchise,
Mhm.
which might even be worth starting with Episode 8, just so John Williams can rest, and enjoy maybe some retirement. Although, I mean, if he's anything like myself or a lot of creators that I know, there's no stopping. It's like Alex Toth dying at the drafting table.
By the way, we are completely wrong. He has no nominations for any of the Star Wars.
What?
1, 2, or 3. He has no nominations.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know he did for the
his-
original trilogy,
His only
Yeah.
one is actually Star Wars.
which is crazy because there
That
was
is crazy.
there's no Imperial March.
No, wait, no. There's no. I'm sorry. All 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah. They're listed as their subtitles, not as Star Wars Empire
Oh.
Strikes Back. So I was just glazing over them. He won for Star Wars. He won for E.T. He did not win for the other ones. He won for Schindler's List.
Which is a
And-
beautiful soundtrack.
Yeah.
The other ones that he won for is he won for Fiddler on the Roof, and honestly, his actual best cinematic musical contribution to the world,
1942.
Jaws.
Oh.
Jaws.
Jaws. Oh yeah.
When you have a song that you can get everybody to think of 2 notes into it.
Yeah.
He wrote the greatest hook ever. Beethoven takes 5 notes.
Yeah, John Williams is incredible. And so I'm not saying that it's not a great soundtrack by any means. It's not my favorite, and that's okay.
So
I don't even know if Force Awakens is my favorite Star Wars movie. So
what is dumb?
what is dumb is not having, unless it is really to get John Williams that Oscar, not having access to Jabba Flow and Dobra Doompa.
What if we never get access to that? Because
That
I'll
would be
point out.
dumb.
No, we will, because it's going to be on Blu-ray eventually, and someone is going to...
Yeah.
I will point out to there is a video game out there that was called Star Wars Force Commander. It was a computer game, came out 25 years ago. There's a remix of Imperial March on that one that is awesome. I love it. It is it is this heavy metal grunge remix of the Imperial
Yes.
March.
Mhm.
It has never been available anywhere but that video game. I one time plucked that MP3 out of the computer file.
Amazing.
I broke the computer game so I could get that song, and I have never seen it available for purchase anywhere.
So if we want this song, your email is.
as long as it gets put into a video game that Darren knows how to crack into.
That's the thing. Like I don't know if I can. I'm not like super hacker guy anymore.
Well, it used to be a lot easier to break into source
That too,
files.
that too.
Like you open the file that's labeled music and
Right.
hope
Yeah.
that it's in a format you can convert to MP3.
I used to go through the old Sierra games and replace the WAV files that were used for voices with my own dialogue.
Okay. So what is dumb, Judge Annie? Is it Jabba Flow and Dobra Doompa not being available right now,
Mhm.
or is it fan theories being created by score similarities, as
I
well
think-
as other Fan theories.
This is close to being a tie, but I think that I'm going to say the fan theories based on the music are kind of dumb when they get out of hand. Fan theories are awesome, like you should totally have them, and that's great, but I think it gets really dumb when people get a little too attached, like they should stay a little more open. That said, the only reason I'm not saying the inclusion isn't dumb is 'cause I really think it's just because it's a John Williams thing. I'm very sure they're going to put it in. I mean, they've got to. If they don't, then that's really dumb.
Yeah. All right. That brings us on to video gaming. I'm going to get right into it. I am getting sick and tired of people asking me if I've played Star Wars Battlefront.
That's dumb.
Have you played Star Wars Battlefront?
No, I'm not going to play this game. That Star Wars Battlefront is dumb. I'm going to come out right there and say it. It's a next generation console. It's a giant, like, it's basically half of Halo. That's what it is. It's a big giant arena. It's okay. It's like Team Fortress 2 without the balance and the fun. That's what I feel like it is. It's like it's okay. What Team Fortress 2? What Battlefield is it's basically like you get to play as either a rebel or imperial. You go on these different planets and you fight on one side of the army or another. You fight against people who are probably going to be 12 years old and insulting your mother the entire time. And first off, I don't normally like playing those type of games. I don't like playing arena combat games. It's not my normal cup of tea, so there's that. But even if it was, I assure you Battlefront is a terrible game. And it's because of complete it looks pretty. I get that. It looks pretty. Woo, nice. But it's got 4 planets. Just 4. That's not what Star Wars is about. I'm trying to think. I could probably go down some of the movies and try to think. I think one movie has at least 4 planets in it. That's like the Star Wars is all about jumping locations on a galactic scale. And if you only have, it's like Hoth, Tatooine, Endor, and Sullust. And ooh, hey, we get to see Sullust because Nien Nunb. Let's throw another shout out to him for no reason. That's what's that?
I said what?
What for the
I was hyping. I was hyping you up.
Like, how do you think about it? Like, think about like just where is Nien Nunb's recruitment skills? How is he the only Celestian in the Rebellion and later the Resistance? Like, we see humans all over the place. Nien, best pilot, like, he's like, hey, look, I piloted the Millennium Falcon. I'm doing things that only Chewbacca could do. Don't tell me Han Solo piloted the Falcon. I'll call you a liar. Because no, he never is the pilot. It's always Chewie. It's like Nien Nunb. Where is he getting? Okay, I'm way sidetracked there. But no, he never gets any of his no family members who want to join up. Nien, like, hey, my cousin, let's go fight the Empire. That's anti-alien. I mean, yeah, sure, the rebels are going to call us aliens and keep pointing that out to us, but they'll give us X-wings. I don't know. It's just not a good game. That's my whole theory about it. Like, it's between that and I'm not entirely sure, and people will probably correct me on this one. Feel free to email us at 5dumbthings@gmail.com. But I don't think all 4 planets even came out with the original game. Like, there's expansion packs. Like, you have to buy a season pass, which costs as much as buying the game, just to get like an almost full experience of the game. And when this game was first announced, there have been other Star Wars Battlefronts, and in this one in particular, it's like in the past you've got like 15 different maps. This one you're getting 4. Like, that's ridiculously terrible. That's my feeling.
And there have been some
That's
very
fair.
fun games along this line that have come out for Star Wars, like the old X-Wing and TIE Fighter games.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Those were really fun, and there was, I mean, you were barely on planets on those, but it was pretty open and very just dogfighty.
They just announced a new entry to one of my favorite versions of the Star Wars games. There's going to be a Star Wars Lego for Force Awakens.
Oh my God! Have you seen the
cool.
trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Everyone pause this and go look at the trailer on on YouTube or wherever. It's a lot of fun.
They even have like cast members recording new dialogue just for this game.
I love the Lego games, especially the Star Wars ones, and so I'm very excited about that.
I do want to put a quick fun side note here. Like, we had this giant veil of secrecy for Episode 7 that you really didn't know what was happening until you sat down and watched Episode 7.
Yeah, I love that.
Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, if you played the Lego Star Wars game, which came out a month before the movie, you got the whole plot. You got it in Lego form, but they were like, there was no secrecy there whatsoever, and no one noticed. It was basically...
It was the world before social media.
Yeah.
Well, that was like with Episode 1, the soundtrack came out a good month before the movie did, and included 2 tracks that specifically referenced Qui-Gon's death.
Yes.
Yeah. That was really a bummer.
It's like,
Which is the nice thing with the new one. They don't actually, like, all the soundtrack names are very, like, obscure. Like, it doesn't really tell you what's going on.
Like, something happens to some guy, track 4.
Yeah.
A dad gets stabbed by his now dark side son.
We won't say who.
But then his Wookiee friend gets really mad.
I really thought he was going to take everything out.
That could be anybody.
It could be, sure.
Who could it be?
All right, what is dumb about video games, Brandon?
So, I don't know if you guys remember 1993, but the Super Nintendo was out, and there was really no reason for them to make any Star Wars anything at that time, because 93 was a little bit deserty in terms of Star Wars content, because it was between when the Thrawn trilogy came out and when the special editions came out in the theaters.
Yeah, special editions were like 96, 97. Yeah, 97.
Right, and so for some reason they put out a game for the Super Nintendo called Super Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, which in its gameplay is basically like, imagine that they in the 90s had given the Star Wars comic book license to Image. Right.
Oh, jeez.
So it's basically, it's like the most extreme possible Star Wars game you could get. It's insanely difficult. And I know this because I recently played it again, because I pulled it down off an emulator because there's nowhere else to get it. And it's really hard. And it's everything that you remember about Empire Strikes Back. It's falling into pits full of spikes. It's hairy dog things all over Hoth. You know, it's all the thing, like Luke Skywalker constantly...
It's a side-scroller, right?
It is, it's a side-scroller. And Luke Skywalker constantly has his lightsaber out, and he's just swinging around all the time.
He's like a little... Like he had a jump and flip thing with the lightsaber out, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically Angry Birds Luke Skywalker.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
He's kind of buff, like the way that they've created the sprite for him. And, you know, like the first stage or whatever, the end boss is the Wampa, who's enormous and, you know, who's a lot more difficult to defeat than just cutting its arm off and running away. It's absolutely ridiculous, the whole game. One of my favorite things about it is the glorious MIDI soundtrack that they created for it. And I'll insert an audio clip here. Because it's everything. It's all of the music from Empire Strikes Back, which is like my second favorite Star Wars soundtrack. And it's all bleeps and bloops. And a lot of the sound effects are actually like captured sound effects. Like the Tauntaun legitimately sounds like a Tauntaun. But then the bleepy bloopy music kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But at the same time is glorious.
There were so many thermal detonators.
Oh, they were all over the place. And like you would kill one of the furry dog things, and you would get like a Darth Vader head, and which is why it's Kylo Ren's favorite game. And then you would get a detonator, a thermal detonator. You'd get hearts everywhere. It's ridiculous. It actually, I mean, Empire Strikes Back has an interesting sort of legacy in gaming, because there was an Empire Strikes Back game that came out for the ColecoVision that was proper to that time, very poor graphics. But it mainly involved flying the snowspeeders and tying up the AT-AT legs, which, if you can imagine, on like an Atari level gaming system, took some leap of imagination. There was some suspension of disbelief.
I still hate wrapping up AT-ATs with a snowspeeder. Doing that in Disney Infinity on a PS3.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I haven't done that. Which pack is that in?
The Rebellion pack.
Oh, okay.
Or there's 3 different Star Wars playsets.
Yep.
They're 3 different eras. One is it combines Rebels and episodes 3, 4, 5. Is that right? Yeah. Well, it's the 3 movies 4, 5, and 6, and then there's 1, 2, and 3, and then there's one just for 7. And I think Rebels.
Well, now I've got one that's Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's 1, 2, and 3. The Clone Wars is the one they use for 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, okay.
So and the thing is with the Star Wars Infinity, all the Star Wars characters can be unlocked and used in all the Star Wars Infinities.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
But no, it's.
Side note: it's dumb that there's not Hera in it.
But they have Sabine.
That's true.
They have everyone but Hera. Okay, keep going. This is your show, not mine.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, actually, I got Hera as like you can add her to walk around your toy box.
Oh yeah, as a she's a
sign up bonus,
right?
Well, I got it as a sign up bonus for joining Disney.com or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I want the figure.
I know. That would be cool. But and you know it may be coming down the line, especially with more Rebels coming, and who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll tie it in.
That'd be cool.
Who knows? So anyway, it's dumb that that they are not creating ridiculous Star Wars games anymore. I guess on purpose, as opposed to your thoughts about Battlefront. That I would love to play a Force Awakens side scroller where Rey is running around knocking out
Oh my god.
thugs. That would be amazing. But
Yeah.
they
that's so
take.
cool.
I think the closest thing we'll get is that Lego Star Wars game, and that's okay because those are fun.
Oh man, I want like a Ray Transistor type game. Be so cool.
Oh yeah.
Would die.
I just want like a BB-8 Explorer, just roll
Aw,
everywhere, see the world.
that's super cute.
That would
Yeah.
be very cool.
Well, no, it'd be like
Set
BB-8, but
things
like
on fire.
BB-8 like Journey though, because you know, like deserts and.
Quietly murder people off screen.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, we don't know
Chopper,
what all is inside that little robot. Like let's face it, the first thing that we see him do after he runs away, sees the village explode, he's looking at that fire for a while. Like he likes watching the world burn.
It's true.
And it's not any. It's like across the board, Star Wars droids, astromechs tend to be little tiny psychopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a theory about that because like you're supposed to like put them in maintenance and like wipe them every once in a while, but like the longer they go without their routine, the more they like sort of like ghost in the shell themselves. So
they develop personalities and
yeah,
look at R2, Chopper, BB-8.
right?
They're all murderous psychopaths.
It's true.
Just BB-8 is just a young little psychopath right now.
Right. Little baby.
Just give him time. He's gonna kill somebody by episode 10. I guarantee it.
Oh man.
Just with his lighter, he's just gonna set someone on fire.
Oh my gosh.
I will say this: BB-8 giving a thumbs up has taught my 2-year-old son how to give a thumbs up.
That's adorable and kind of scary.
Yes. Hey, bad. Judge Annie.
Oh yeah, hi.
Yes. We're doing a podcast. We're doing this right now. I'm clapping into the microphone just to annoy Brandon later. I don't know what you're going to do with that edit.
I'm gonna add reverb.
What is dumb is Star Wars.
Take two,
Why?
take two.
Why am I doing? I'm going to sit on my hands. Sit on my hands. What is dumb? Is Star Wars Battlefront dumb, or is Super Star Wars Empire Strikes Back dumb?
Well, I think his point was that they don't
Or that
make
we
those
don't
in anymore.
have. We don't have something that is the two-dimensional, side-scrolling, lightsaber swinging.
That they're too dedicated to the
Gosh.
quote unquote reality of the Star Wars franchise.
I kind of feel like it's kind of like almost the same point, really. Like it's, I don't want to give you another tie, but it's really, I mean, it's really dumb because the reason why people are so into like this realistic stuff is because there's also not this other really cool imaginative content. You know what I mean? So, man, this is a really hard one because they're both so dumb. I guess me personally being biased, not gonna get super hate mail. I guess I would say that Star Wars Battlefront only having 4 planets is slightly more dumb. Although then again, like I want more imaginative things. That's really dumb too.
Wait, what was the ruling there?
Gosh. Well, I guess the not having enough imaginative things are more dumb because if we didn't have more of those, then we wouldn't even have to worry about Battlefront, right? So that you win that by like 0.00001.
You win that by a tiny Death Star not getting support anymore.
Very, very slight margin.
Okay.
Oh man, I played the heck out of Tiny Death Star.
Oh
boy.
It's the problem with having me as a judge. I'm so indecisive.
It still functions. It just crashes like every week now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It got way too hard to maintain for me. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Mine got ridiculously huge. I'm just very. Both my sons cheer me on when I play that one. They tell me what to do. It's adorable. We are on the etc. portion. This is where I think both Brandon and I are going to have aneurysms about how angry we are about things. Okay.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Your choice, Brandon.
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. Hashtag, where's Ray? So there was a big deal made after the movie came out, probably a little bit before too, that there was a lack of Ray merchandise, and that is absolutely true. To the point where anytime I take my son to Target or any other store like that, I send him on the hunt for Ray merchandise just to see how much there is or is not. So far in our trips, he's found one thing, and that is the Ray figure that comes with the Ray speeder, where her whole head is all wrapped up, so you can't even tell who it is.
See her face.
So you have no idea that it's her or even a woman, and it's very frustrating. And so there's been a lot of talk about this, and the toy companies are saying that Disney told them not to put out Ray toys, and then there's a whole defense that they didn't want to spoil anything by putting out Ray with a lightsaber, and she was always intended to come out later, which sounds like such backpedaling to me. Just because we've been through this. Like we have seen a lack of Leia toys that aren't just her in her slave bikini. We've seen a lack of Wonder Woman toys. We've seen, every franchise, like the Storm toys that were so hard to find when the X-Men movie came out.
We got Black Widow in the Avengers franchise.
Oh my God! Like Black Widow, Captain America replacing Black Widow in her own scene in the toy version of the Avengers toys. It's and again that's Disney, so who knows? It may have come from on high. Who knows? But,
I think it comes from the marketing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating because we now have an opportunity to have and we've had a few this year actually, of strong female lead characters who should be getting as much action figure play as all the rest. And especially like the Millennium Falcon set that they just put out for Force Awakens comes with Finn and BB-8 and maybe Chewbacca.
This is the Lego Millennium Falcon?
No, this is the Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
Like the actual Falcon set.
The Lego one pisses me off immensely. Mind if I jump in real quick?
Go for it.
Because the Lego one, you have Finn, you have BB-8, you have some of the Raiders, like I think it's like the Ganja Club Raiders. I want to say there's a Han Solo in there, and there's a C-3PO.
Sure.
Yeah, C-3PO.
Who's never on...
C-3PO with a red arm, which, by the way, that was spoiled.
Oh, I almost didn't recognize him.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that scene in Force Awakens when C-3PO steps on the Millennium Falcon ever?
No, never once.
No. does
No.
not go anywhere near that. And
Yeah.
if we're trying to say that's not trying to spoil anything, you could have given us a Rey minifig without the light. You could have put the lightsaber in the set, and we would have assumed that it went to Finn
Yeah.
until we watched the movie and realized, oh, that's Rey's lightsaber now. That's
You could
cool.
have just kept the lightsaber with him the whole time.
True.
I mean,
Right.
you know,
When
like
it's on the Falcon, first time on the Falcon, it's in his possession. Second time, it's in hers.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. It's first time neither of them have it. Second time his. Third time hers. But still, you're not spoiling the fact that she's on the Falcon when the preview shows us this.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and this gets further. They're Star Tours at Disneyland. They're updating it, and they're adding some Force Awakens things. They have Finn piloting the Falcon.
Yeah, I heard John Boyega did like lines for it.
What?
Why is
I was
he
like, question mark?
Why is he piloting the Falcon?
Yeah.
It's a
Well-
plot point twice in the movie that he doesn't know how to fly.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
so I'm looking right now at the Star Wars The Force Awakens Battle Action Millennium Falcon set, which is
Mhm.
$130, and this is just the action figures.
Sheesh.
So you've got Finn, who's wearing the headset that you wear when you're in the gunner chair.
Okay.
Yep.
You've got Chewbacca, who is also wearing that same headset and holding his bowcaster. And then
Okay.
you've got BB-8, and that's it. So you've got one
Yeah.
character who most of the time that he's on the Falcon is bleeding in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got another one who can't fly anything and breaks one of the guns. And then you've got BB-8 who just suspends himself in the air using his little zip line.
And getting
toys.
back to my point that I made earlier, Chewie never goes into a gunner seat in the Falcon.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like when this is one of the greatest moments that I have. Like when Han is bragging, like I still got a few tricks up my sleeves. His first trick is to put on gloves. His second trick is to do something just slightly. It doesn't work. His third trick is to get out of the chair and make Chewie fly. That's his trick up his sleeve, is to make the Wookiee do it.
I have
Yep.
a feeling that Chewie's too big for those little gunner seats.
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a
how does he
very
even fit in there?
Yeah, I think he'd get just wedged in a little tube that heads towards them, which would be kind of
Yeah.
funny. You know, maybe that'll be in the next one, a little comic relief, as he's
Yeah.
mourning Han. And he gets stuck like Winnie the
Gosh.
Pooh.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have to be a collector to get Rey merchandise. I think like what you first said was that I took my son to the store and we couldn't find stuff. Like that's the crux of it, because like there's a lot of people that are kind of like saying like, oh no, there's stuff for her now. You just have to look, you have to find it. But like when you're a parent and you have a kid, you have one trip to Target. You know, like if Target and Walmart and like these big chains don't have it, like you don't have time, like, because you're busy, I don't know, being a parent.
Yeah.
So, like, and you're like, yeah, okay, you ordered offline, but again, you're busy being a parent. So it's like, you know, making these things accessible for kids. And the fact that, like, play is not necessarily gendered. Like, me and my brother used to play with Star Wars figures and, you know, our DC figures and our Marvel figures together. And I'd bring, you know, my dolls and we'd have, you know, Transformers and, like, the whole 9 yards, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not like there's this weird, I guess, like marketing perception that like, well, little boys only like, you know, little boy toys, and that's what they buy. But they only buy them because that's all you put out.
Right. That is the option, and it's, you know, I mean, it goes both ways, especially like with the girls' toys only being like super girly. Like my daughter, for instance, she runs around. Oh yeah, well. My daughter runs around the house wearing a superhero cape and
That's
using her one Barbie toy that she has as a sword.
That's cute. That's cute.
And it's awesome. Like I think it's great. But you know, those are the toys that are marketed to her, and I'm glad that she already has the personality where she'll just do whatever comes to her imagination with it. But I know how that changes over time based on these kind of outside pressures or whatever. My son's favorite color used to be pink when he was really little, and then he went to school, and after that, pink is a girl's color, and that was annoying. But I mean, favorite colors change all the time. But you know,
No,
it was
what's
just
the point that like, you know, you go to school and not okay to like the color that you like because the girls like it.
Right, exactly. And you know, we had that whole thing. And one thing that Target has done is removed the gendering signs and stuff from the aisles, and it really does make a difference. I mean, you can tell which aisle is quote unquote which,
right?
Because you know, there's one aisle that's all Barbies and Elsas, and then there's one aisle that's all
We're hearing that,
sad
right?
young children.
Monty was just, he knows how to open doors now. So,
like a velociraptor. Hi, Monty.
Yes, he's learning. Clever boy. Sorry about that. That was my 2-year-old son, who knows Daddy's in the office recording right now. Just wanted to say hi.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right. So that.
So anyway, just
it's cute.
In summary, I think that we've been lied to about the reasons for Rey not appearing. I think that maybe they're starting to fix it because they've already said like they're adding her to the Monopoly set. They are putting out a whole new wave of toys that's going to include her. So if it does get better, if it does continue to get better, if when Episode 8 comes out, the first wave has a Maz figure, Maz Kanata, and
yes, please,
Rey and Leia, and then we'll know that they've really gotten the message. So hopefully we'll give them the benefit of the doubt that this is the start of something good.
Yeah, I think people have to be loud though, because if people don't make a big stink about it, they don't change. But people sure did squawk, and it looked really bad for them. And you know what? Now they're trying. So
yeah. And they did squawk, and I'm really proud of the people who did, because that would have been a pretty easy thing to just kind of shrug it off, But people kept on hammering on it until it was finally heard, and the fact that they're making changes to the toy line is awesome.
Yeah.
So let's do my etc. dumb thing. I think we all saw this when it first came out, and this was back in December, but it was the 40 unforgivable plot holes in Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Oh my god, I already know this is dumb.
So clickbait. It was, it's a list, and it was things, and somebody did actually do a point-by-point rebuttal of this.
Yeah, he was wrong.
It's like hands down, all 40 of these points can be explained away with
watching the movie.
Watch the movie, or realize that not everything. It's a Star Wars movie. Not everything is going to be explained right away. We're not going to hold your hand. The bowcaster is really freaking powerful, and it actually shot Kylo. Or things like, plot happens. Like one of the things that this thing actually complains about is that Starkiller Base is splitting apart, and it happens to create a giant rift between Kylo and Rey, so that Rey can't kill him on the spot. It's symbolism, and it's the plot, and it's Deus Machina, but you know what? That's allowed in plays.
Yeah.
That's a thing. It's allowed in theater. It's allowed in movies and stories, and especially when they didn't it's not quite Deus, because we know why the planet blew up. We saw why.
Right.
It's because of the sacrifice of Eloasti.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not letting him go. But it goes through this whole giant list, and it skips over 2 actual plot holes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
These are my 2 plot holes. First one is, why did Leia name her kid Ben?
That's really interesting.
To this day, I am confused about this, because Leia Organa, before she's Leia Organa, is she even Leia Organa Solo, or is she just Leia Organa? They never establish if she's married or not.
In the expanded universe, she was Leia Organa Solo, but it's not. It's not
now.
It's not clear.
Now it's not clear. She might actually.
General.
She might be
call her General
slash. Anyhow, she's looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. She only knows him by the name Obi-Wan Kenobi. She has never met Ben Skywalker. In fact, she never does. At no point do Leia and Kenobi meet.
Mm-hmm.
That she's getting rescued, she's being brought to the Falcon, and Kenobi's turning to a pile of dirty laundry. That's their stories split at that point. And in fact, at that point, all she sees is Luke yelling out, "Ben!" And then let's look at the dad, Han Solo. Where does he like Ben Kenobi at this point? Nowhere. No, they hate each other. They
Mhm.
one of them called Han refers to Ben's religion as old hokey superstitions, and Ben in turn calls him a fool. Like they don't get along in New
Yeah.
Hope. It's there's friction there. And if anybody were going to name their kid Ben, it would be Luke. That would make sense. But why did Han and Leia do it? That's just weird. I mean, the only weirder name that they could have named their kid would have been Lando.
Ooh. No.
It's a little awkward there. Like,
Uh,
Don't know which one would suggest it, but the other one would definitely say no. The other plot hole that I had that it still bothers me 3 watchings in is when Han dies, Rey gets off the plane, or gets off the Falcon, the plane. They're there. They're at the Resistance base, not the Rebel base. And Leia and Rey have this moment. They look at each other, and they comfort each other and hug. Chewie walks right past Leia. Leia has never met Rey at that point.
As far as we know.
As far as no, it's actually in terms of the movie timeline. Leia doesn't. She finds out about Rey when they land on Maz's place, and Rey had just been abducted minutes before.
right.
Like Kylo takes Rey into his little flip shuttle, and then Leia lands, and then they go and they rescue Rey. Then they meet for the first time, and they're comforting each other over Han's death, despite having no idea who each other is. Why wasn't Chewie comforting Leia? That's
It's interesting.
Because Leia and Chewie have an issue because she never gave him a medal.
Exactly. That's exactly what it gets down to.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Wookiees
I like
hold
to
grudges.
I like to think that he's just so grief stricken. He's just like, F it and
He's
walks out.
high-fiving.
Oh
He
yeah,
is
that's true.
doing the.
I don't know. I like to think that
Proud
maybe like
surfing.
her and Ray. Yeah, well, it's true. I mean, maybe she feels something in the Force, and that's why
Well, there's an
whatever,
explanation of sorts
I
that's
don't
going
know.
around that explains that, first of all, no one knows that Han has died yet.
I mean, Leia is.
Leia
Leia does through the Force.
Rey's pretty sure at that point, I'm guessing.
Well, no,
Yeah.
Rey knows, but I mean, no one at the
Chewie
Resistance
knows.
base. No one at the Resistance base. So they don't want to get off the plane and say, like, "Hey guys, Han died, but we won." So Leia, who is Force sensitive, and Rey, who is Force sensitive, connect in that grief, and so
Mhm.
she heads to her first because maybe she knows that if she hugs Chewie, he'll start crying. And
Aw, she
he
was
do-
crying.
he doesn't want to cry in front of all the Resistance guys.
He's got his party to go to.
His Wookiee party.
He's gotta go find his girlfriend.
Right?
His multiple girlfriends, let's face it. There are multiple female characters in that movie that are completely up in Chewie's business.
It's
You
true.
got the medic, you got Maz.
Although I
Probably-
don't know if Chewie's into Maz. Didn't you get that kind of feeling where she's like, "Yo, where's my boyfriend?" And Han's like, "Oh, he's on. I got you, bro.
He's
Yeah,
at the
he's
Falcon.
making repairs."
He's got some repairs. He's getting
Oh,
greasy.
yeah.
I'm just saying, even the pink R2 unit is into Chewie.
Oh, R2KT.
Yep.
R2KT. Oh.
Oh gosh! All right, that is our last dumbness. So what is dumber? Is
Oh gosh.
plot holes that are inexcusable,
Mhm.
or where's Rey?
Ray, where is Ray is infinitely dumber. Just infinitely, like, how is the main character not even there? Like, no brainer. Oh my god.
All right, I'm clapping again. I don't know why.
Thank you.
Brandon, you definitely tell me if the clapping is annoying.
It's fine.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. It is annoying.
It's
but,
annoying.
It's
but-
not gonna cause me any headaches when I'm editing later.
Okay, so, all right.
Oh my god.
All right. As McConaughey through this power finish. In movies, we agree that the prequels, anything that George Lucas directly did without oversight, is dumb. In television, the Clone Wars not having its own ending, as well as people obsessing about spoilers when they're really just character announcements, are dumb. Fan theories gone wild, whether music-based or otherwise, is dumb. The the fact that we don't have an equivalent of Super Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, side-scrolling and ridiculousness is dumb, and Where's Rey is quite possibly the dumbest thing. Not the campaign, but the fact that we had to do the campaign is dumb. All right, that wraps up the Star Wars portion. We have a brief follow-up dumbness to, I believe, our first episode. We were talking about the video game No Man's Sky, which I wrote down as No Man's Land because apparently I had a Batman feeling there.
I saw that on our cheat sheet, and I wasn't going to correct you because I wanted to hear it happen.
Oh,
so that I could step in and say, "Well, actually, Darren," but I didn't get the moment.
No Man's Sky will be coming to next generation consoles on June of 2016.
Sure.
So we allegedly 5 months away. It has a date now. We can actually try not to think about it for 5 months. We'll see how that goes. We are going to then turn over to the shameless plugs portion of our show real quick. I have got too many damn plugs. I'm going to just barf them out real quick. This Sunday, I am at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank, California, competing in the Nerd Bowl, where 2 teams of comics are going to out-nerd each other, and the winner is going to get a bowl of fries. This Tuesday, February 9th, I'm at Tommy T's Comedy Steakhouse in Pleasanton, California. And Saturday, February 13th, I will be hosting Mega Art Wars. Brandon, give us a shameless plug or 3.
I actually have one this week instead of making them up like I normally do. Later this month, I know when we're recording, but I don't know when it's going to air. I will be appearing on the Adios Amigos podcast, which is one that has become a favorite of mine. It deals with shows that were canceled before their time, and currently it's dealing with happy endings, and is going through episode by episode. And so I will be on episode 11 discussing the issues with that show being canceled, and they have a lot of fun games, including why one of the characters is a secret serial killer, and how there's evidence in every episode supporting it. So it'll be a lot of fun. The Adios Amigos podcast is on iTunes, etc. So everyone check it out and get ready for my appearance.
And Annie Stoll, give us some shameless plugs.
Hey, well, right now, my friend Kevin J. Stanton and I are kickstarting this super cool anthology called 1001 Nights, and it's spelled 1001 Nights, K-N-I-G-H-T-S, on Kickstarter. So definitely check that out. Just Google it. You'll find it. And if you're still lost, find my Twitter. It's at ANIISTOLL.
Now, your campaign, are we on stretch goals now, or are we still shooting for 100?
We're blowing past stretch goals, and it's super, super fun. This book is extra plush. There's foil and gold edges and everything. It's 3 books that make up one anthology. It's super plush, and the only way to get it is through Kickstarter, so get it before it's gone.
The only way is going to be through Kickstarter?
Artists will have artist copies, but you're going to have to track down artists to get their version. So the only way to get the one that you see with the blue cover is to back the Kickstarter. And if that is a little expensive, we also have PDFs that you can buy, which have no shipping and last you forever.
Nice. How long is left on the campaign?
We've got 22 days to go.
Okay. With our air date, I think it's going to be closer to 20 days. But so it's going to be the month of, if you were listening to this in early February of 2016, go back that Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. Next week we have a guest. I'm not going to lie, I don't know exactly who it is.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't say, since we were incorrect about this week's guest.
Yes.
Initially.
Sorry,
we do have a. Wait. Did I?
A disappointment.
Hold on. No. For a half second there, I thought I actually had the guest announcement come in through Facebook, but nope, not yet. So we'll announce the guest when we start the show next week. It'll be a good one. I can guarantee you that, because I know it's one of 3 people at this point. All 3 of these people are going to be on the show eventually. They all are amazing people to talk to. So one of those people will be on the show. Until then, we've been really, really dumb. All right.